Hello guys, it's been so long and I apologize. The holidays between October and January, early January, I am usually MIA to everyone but those who live with me. So much goes on during that period of just a few months. A lot of it's internal, a lot of it is health and spiritual and just inner close circle, aka husband, children, priorities, just everything is being reevaluated during that time. And I think it's a natural instinct for me because the new year is on the horizon and I'm trying to close things out so I feel like this year wasn't a total waste. I think that's what I'm mentally doing without even knowing it. And so those last few months are just, I shut down. That's good and bad, because it produces a lot of good things and then sometimes some bad, but that's kind of the way it is with life anyway. This video, I want to take you with me as I plan for 2022. Throughout my mid-30s, I've really discovered more about who I am, what my purpose in life is, really what defines me, and until this period, I've not really known any of those things. I had an idea, I was always searching, I always changed, who I was in a sense, not as literal, but you know what I mean. But to actually know and have the answer and actually believe the answer, it was only until a year or two ago. Between 2020 and 2021, those things really molded me. A lot happened between that period. I would say it all began in 2012, 2013. And if you look at your chart in astrology, you really can see why that is, what happened, what to expect. And then you look back and you're like, oh, was spot on. And then for me, being a Christian astrologer, I incorporate that which God controls the cosmos and he communicates through all different things of his creation. I add that into my spiritual walk of life and things just come together. So 2022 is going to be the year where I put everything that I've learned to work. I put it all to action. I know who I am. I have kind of a playbook, but that's what this video might go a little bit into, as well as my plan for 2022. It's going to incorporate all kinds of things that I do on a regular basis, rituals, of course, botanicals, health, spirituality. It's going to incorporate everything because this is a plan for 22. And maybe you can adapt some of my methods and do the same thing for yourself. I'll add some freebies down in the description notes. There'll be links there to my website where you can get those freebies that will be mentioned throughout the video. But I'm so happy to be back after a month of a break, and I hope you enjoy this video. And a little disclaimer that I always make in the beginning. Years ago, I had a YouTube channel with thousands of subscribers, over 10,000. I was shut down a couple times from YouTube, breaking guidelines when I would mention holistic alternatives or alternative medicine. So here I am rebuilding yet again, and who knows how many times I'll be doing that. But that's kind of backstory on my history with YouTube, my numbers, and my rebuilding process. And thank you if you found me again after YouTube shut me down. So the sheet I created in Canva with additional little templates for little activities that you can customize yourself. You'll find that link in the description notes. The first topic is going to be work. I just like to get that over with when I sit down and go over mentally the next year. Work for me is chaotic. I've always been a hustler, meaning I've always worked hard in my life. I was brought up that way. I've always been someone that likes to push myself. And I kind of got lazy at one point around the college years, right after high school, which I think is normal. And when I noticed when I did that and I stopped pushing myself as much, I was idle with my mind, right? And I realized for me personally, if I am left with my thoughts, they will turn against me. And I think the mind has a mind of its own. It's like a separate you, because it'll create scenarios that are not the truth. You sometimes will even believe these things or take action on these things, and we've all been guilty of that. I am just more prone to that extreme than others, perhaps. So I realized when my mind was idle, I made a lot of stupid decisions. I thought a lot of stupid things. And then I realized years later, after the bad mistakes and after the consequences I had to go through from stupid decisions, I needed a return to working hard, being focused, and having a drive, a healthy drive. Of course, throughout the years, it kind of got imbalanced, which is inevitable. You get that high and you just run for it, and you don't taper when you need to. But now I'm at that point where I know I need to, but I still desire it. So my goal is to kind of level out my work career, my avenues of income. I like having income coming in throughout various channels. I like to be prepared. My dad always raised me to, don't get comfortable. Always have a backup plan and a backup to the backup to the backup plan, because nothing is certain in life. You can get fired, you can let go. Is something, especially through the COVID era, nothing is certain. And we've learned that more than ever, but that's something I learned as a child that a lot of people are now discovering. Your life can be turned upside down in a blink of an eye, and you can dwell there for a while. So you really need to learn how to have alternatives to anything in life. But for me personally, with work, I like having various channels that I can bring in income. So I always have a savings account, always have a backup if one avenue falls. I'll always have others coming through. Believe it or not, I don't make money much at all on YouTube, especially having to rebuild several times throughout the years. Definitely not monetizing on anything. YouTube and I don't really have a good relationship. We're just putting up with each other like most marriages, except mine. This is more of like my journal. I like to this is kind of my me time, is making YouTube videos and sharing whatever stupid things I've learned throughout the years. And of course, spiritual goals that I have for myself. And because this next year is going to be focused on spirituality, I do have to have kind of like a separate checklist. And so if you go down the template that I share with you guys, the next page is going to be your 22 resolutions. So 2022 resolutions, and that's going to be based on your focus of the year. So what are you going to be focusing on? These key things. And because mine is centered around spirituality, a lot of the little steps to get to that where I feel the year was successful with my focus is kind of going to be based on that. And you can of course use it however you wish, but for me, that's going to be, 10 minutes a day for prayer, or 5 minutes of meditation, or little things like that. Working out, that really plays in a part of how you feel, your desire to think outside the box or have those times of meditation. It's all based on your body, not just mentally, but physically. And I need to get back in shape, and that does tie into my spirituality. I feel better mentally when I'm in shape. So it all ties into my New Year's resolutions and the list. The first part of the guide is going to be kind of a summary of the year and what your focus is. I think starting out small for me is the key. If I just aim with kind of low expectations, you're never going to be disappointed, right? But at the same time, you want to challenge yourself, because you don't want to get complacent, you don't want to get comfortable, you don't want to get lazy. Maybe not physically lazy, but mentally lazy. So I choose one focus for the next year. And for example, I think this year my focus should be spirituality. I think it has slacked over the years, over the decades. And I know there's a part of me that needs that in my life personally. So that's going to be my focus for next year. And of course, you fill in what you think. And there's also going to be a list of goals. So I have 10, the amount of 10 to fill in. So 10 goals I think is a good number. For me, I'll just jot them down, but I know right off the top of my head, one of those goals is going to be alone time, self-care. I think especially moms, we need that time of just being by ourselves, whether it's taking a bath or getting your nails done, whatever it is that you consider your me time and self-care, I think is so needed. And I've put that on the back burner for years and years. It's affected me in a negative way. So that I'm bringing back. So that is definitely one of my goals. To get started on making all of these plans and writing all this down and filling out these sheets, I kind of need that set alone time. So you're kind of like forced, and you have to get jump started to kind of jumpstart your resolutions for the next year, to kind of just commit to writing this down, especially if you're a busy mom, working woman, or, have a busy life. But I recommend really finding a time to focus, shut your brain down, and have it at least awake for one thing, and that is filling this out. Typically for me, the best time to do that would be in the evening when all the kids are asleep, or first thing in the morning, like 4:30. And then I come to my little corner that I have that just really helps me get into that mood of feeling connected with myself, with God, with my mind and thoughts, so I can actually center in on those things that I need to write down. Because if I do it in the spur of the moment and quickly write it down or jot it down on break at work or something, it's not going to be a genuine list. You're half-assing it, so you're really going to half-ass it throughout the next year. You really have to create a ritual moment where you make that environment for yourself to fill this out. You'll take it more serious than you would otherwise if you were to just quickly get it done or quickly fill it out. So it's like you are committing. Okay, this is a special moment. This is a quiet moment. This is a meeting with myself. This is a ritual, which I call them rituals. And I am going to commit to this for next year. And you can probably get this done depending on how focused you are at that time. I would get this done like 5 to 20 minutes. I really have to shut my brain down to get it focused and centered. And meditation is huge for that. When I first got started with meditation, I was hesitant for so many years because I thought it was attributed to a religion that I wasn't really committed to or interested in. But with more research, I realized that you really don't have to be a part of that religion to utilize this process that these people invented. Just like a lot of people throughout generations and societies adopt certain traditions or rituals or habits that derived from, Catholic Church or Christianity or Islam. For myself, I actually took meditation and customized it. I take it and I use it for praying. When you're praying, you're supposed to find a quiet spot. You're supposed to be all in, not just flippantly pray randomly. Sure, you could do that throughout the day. This is just my personal thoughts. But you're not committed. You're not there giving God your full attention. With meditation, you kind of are. You're forcing yourself to sit still, to center your mind, and that is how a lot of Christians should be when they pray, but they don't. So it's kind of funny when I think about why wouldn't they want to incorporate something like this? So again, I take these different things and I adopt them into my own rituals and use them for my relationship and my spirituality. And really, it doesn't matter where it derived from. What matters is your heart, your purpose for using it. And that is what I believe will be judged. If you believe in a higher being or energy judging you or measuring your acts, thoughts, and action, livelihood while on earth. The last thing I will focus on when it comes to planning for 2022 is weight loss and the whole diet thing that is usually typically number one on most people's lists. But for me, I make it a point to make it last, because while that is important, you can get so caught up in that and forget about other things that are actually more important for you. But I fortunately found an amazing plant-based system that does it for me. And I don't really have to think too hard about what I'm gonna do to lose weight or what actions I'll do to get healthy and feel better. This system kind of is just planned out for me, so I just do it. And I'll share the link of that plant-based system that's completely natural and amazing. I have tried so many different companies and supplements, and nothing compares to this company called Synergy. Now, there's some of them that I can actually find elsewhere that I don't buy from them, and yeah, price is an issue for me. I'm kind of frugal. So if I know I can get the same equal quality for cheaper, I'll do that. I'm not just committed to a brand like that. But there are some that you just can't find anywhere else cheaper. So if I will help you save and find the best. And if that doesn't exist outside of this company, I will let you know. And if it does, I will let you know. I write all about it over on my blog. But this system is just laid out perfectly. If you need energy, weight loss, fast crazed diet, there's plans for all that. And I'll close with a little kind of revelation on what it was that clicked for me when it came to accomplishing your goals and your purpose in life and realizing what it is and seeing it through. It's to know and realize that you're never going to be perfect. You're going to fail. You're going to have mistakes. You're going to make wrong choices. But I found that when you own them every single time, instead of casting blame on anything or anyone, you are able to get over that quicker, have a less crippling effect from said wrong choice, and instead of suffering a longer consequence of it. So keeping your mind where it's not more like holier than thou type thing, not trying to cast the blame, realizing you're never going to be perfect, but that really it comes down to your heart, who you are as a person that really matters, and what you need to focus on and make sure you always keep in check. That kind of drives you to make the better choices, to see your resolutions through, make sure you at least check off most of that list before next year comes around. One of my favorite Bible characters is David, King David. He apparently was a man after God's own heart, and no one else was given that title, that compliment in the Bible, except him. And then when you think about it, I'm like, David, okay, he cheated on his wife, he killed, murdered, did all kinds of wrong things, sinning left and right. But he was a man after God's own heart. So I dove a little bit deeper once I kind of was questioning that and wanted to know what made him that, even though he was highly imperfect. And it was because what he did after the fact. You can allow yourself to be bashed down, hit, abused, smashed, humiliated, embarrassed. You can allow yourself to stay down when you either make a wrong choice or something bad happens to you, or you can realize that it's not the end of the world, ask for forgiveness, to whoever, whether it be God or the person you did wrong. Just make the change instead of wallowing in your own self-pity. And that was, I think, the key. He was very remorseful when he did those things that were wrong. He repented immensely, and he never once blamed God for anything. And we tend to do the name blame game when things are messed up in any way that had to do with someone else, or if life just sucks, or mad at God, instead of realizing that we all have free will. Even horrible people have free will. And in a sense, some of my choices that resulted in some of other things happening, if you really wanted to back it up, it was my fault. I put myself in the wrong place at the wrong time by this choice, and this is why this happened. And so there's never been a time where I really blamed God for anything. And I think that's what's helped me the most, is I always own everything. And that's the key, I believe, for becoming successful, for seeing things through, for making sure you get your goals done and accomplished, is making sure you own every single decision you make, good and bad. And you make sure you have time with yourself and take care of yourself. Mental health being very, very important. And then you will accomplish your goals for this coming year. So there's my little spiritual video of helpful tips and tricks. Take care, guys, and come back, subscribe, visit me again, share the video, but most of all, take care.